being here. Let me get some preliminary items done. This is Roxana Gamusio. I'm the Executive Director with the State Board of Cosmetology and Barber Examiners, and nothing is making me happier than to see our incredible board members in front of us, the names on the projector of those that have called in through WebEx. And we have more staff and an owner participating here. So I want to welcome everyone. Due to obviously the pandemic and COVID-19, our last in-person board meeting was in February of 2020. So it's been a minute, and we're back to a new normal. This participation, both in person and through WebEx, will probably be our new normal for at least quite a while. And it allows our members that aren't able to travel to get here to also participate. The first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is go through our roll call vote to make sure that we have quorum, and then I'll do a couple of updates, and Chairman Gillihan, then I'll turn it over to you if that's okay. Thank you. So today is Monday, June 7th. This is our regularly scheduled board meeting. Information about this meeting was posted to the board's website on August 3rd of 2020, and the agenda was updated on the website on June the 3rd. And so to proceed, the first thing I'd like to do is start with roll call vote. If you are participating on the phone, thank you again for being on mute so that we can carry on board business. And for our board members, you'll need to unmute yourself to be able to do roll call vote. And also for all of the votes, because we don't have a physical quorum in front of us here today, I will have to do roll call vote for all of our motions. I'll start with our chairman, Ron Gillihan.
Present.
Thank you. Vice Chair Becky Russell.
Here.
Thank you. Ms. Judy McAllister.
Here.
Thank you. Ms. Patricia Parsons.
Present.
Thank you. Ms. Mona Sappenfield.
Present.
Thank you. Mr. Frank Gambusa. I believe Frank will be joining us shortly. He is trying to get on the WebEx call. Ms. Amy Tanksley. She is not with us today. Ms. Anita Charlton.
Present.
Thank you. Ms. Yvette Granger. Ms. Susan Witcher is also not able to join us today. Ms. Janie Ross.
Here.
Thank you. Dr. John Cagle. Okay. And Dr. Cagle will be joining us shortly. He is one of our two new board members. And Ms. Monica Lemons.
Present.
Thank you. And so before continuing, I have the privilege of introducing our two new members. I'll start with Ms. Lemons. Ms. Monica Lemons is taking the cosmetologist member role for Ms. Kelly Barger. And I know if those of you that can communicate with her will be hopefully thank her as I have and the governor has for her years of service and for staying with us because she continued to inspect schools and to come while we needed her desperately for quorum and for everything else. So it was wonderful to have her. Ms. Lemons, I want to welcome you. If you want to take a moment to introduce yourself to the board and our students watching and our other members, please. Just press your speak button.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you very much. I'm very honored and excited to be here. I live in Jefferson City, and I own a hair salon, and I have been in the business for almost 31 years. I've taught, and I have owned a shop, and now I am going to be a board member. And I'm very excited. I'm here for anyone if they ever need to reach out, and I'm looking forward to this.
Thank you so much. And she is definitely a board member. They went through orientation this morning, so I know Dr. Cagle's also excited to join us, but we had two different lines, so I have a feeling that that's possibly caused a concern or a problem, but he'll be joining us, I'm sure. Just by chance, Dr. John Cagle, are you able to join us? Okay. I've got John reaching out, so I'm sure he will. Mr. Gillihan, I'll turn it over to you, Chairman Gillihan.
Thank you very much. And before we get into
Yes, thank you. Thank you for doing that. All yours. Thank you.
All right, good morning. According to TCA Section 84108B2, if a physical quorum is not present at the location of a meeting of a governing body, the governing body must file such determination of necessity, including the resuscitation of the facts and circumstances on which it was based, with the Office of Secretary of State no later than 2 working days after the meeting. Furthermore, TCA Section 844108A3 defines necessity as matters to be considered by the governing body at that meeting, which require timely action by the body, that physical presence by a quorum of the members is not practical within the period of time requiring action, and that participation by a quorum of the members by electronic or other means of communication is necessary. This is the routinely scheduled meeting for the Tennessee Board of Cosmetology and Barber Examiners, and the purpose of today's meeting, with a portion of the members attending by teleconference, is to discuss the agenda as noticed on the website earlier. And I just need a motion to accept that statement. Roll call vote.
Trish Parsons, I make a motion to accept. Second.
We have a
Thank you.
motion and a second to accept. Kenna will do the roll call.
Thank you. And if you are calling in, we need to make sure you have yourself on mute, please. I think we've gotten a couple of recent callers. If you can mute yourself, that will help us so that the recording for the meeting is clear. Thank you. I will do roll call vote, and this is for the statement of necessity. Ron Gillahan.
Here. Yes, I'm sorry.
Thank
Yes.
you. Becky Russell.
Yes.
Thank you. Judy McAllister.
Yes.
Patricia Parsons.
Yes.
Mona Sappenfield.
Yes.
Thank you. Frank Gambusa. Anita Charlton.
Yes.
Thank you. Vivek Granger. J.D. Ross.
Frank.
Thank you. Dr. John Cagle.
Here.
Thank
Here.
you. And Monica Lemons.
Yes.
Thank you. That concludes our first motion on the statement of necessity. Dr. Cagle, thank you for joining us. If you want to turn your video off, you're welcome to. We will be doing audio only for the WebEx, and that is perfect. I had the pleasure of introducing you a minute ago, so I'm so glad we were able to get you on board. If you would like to introduce yourself, though, and do a much better job than I did and speak to the board, I'll turn it over to you, sir.
My name's John Cagle. I live in East Tennessee in Dandridge. Happy to serve on this august body and just hope I can be an asset to the board.
Thank you, Dr. Cagle. It's a pleasure to have you here, as well as our new member, Miss Lemons. Welcome to the board, and I'm sure we're going to work your fingers off.
And Dr. Cagle is taking Nina Coppinger's old position. He is our public member with a bachelor's degree in education. So we are very excited to have those two positions now filled. Moving on, the next item on our agenda.
Roxana.
Yes.
Roxana, I apologize. Mr. Gambusa is online as well.
Fantastic. Oh, thank you. And thank you, Frank. I've got you noted here. So we will continue. Thank you so much for joining us. Everyone should have received the minutes in advance of the meeting to be able to review. I would need a motion to accept them as is, or any changes that you need amended. Happy to take those.
Make the motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second to
Thank you. Given that there is no physical quorum in the building, I will do roll call vote for all of our motions. Ron Gillahan,
yes.
Becky Russell,
Yes.
Judy McAllister,
Yes.
Patricia Parsons,
Yes.
Mona Sappenfield,
Yes.
Frank Gambusa,
Yes.
Anita Charlton,
Yes.
Janie Ross, John Cagle,
Yes.
thank you, Monica Lemons,
Yes.
thank you. With that being done, I will turn it over to Hugh Cross, our attorney for the program, to go over any recent legislative updates.
All right, thank you. So I do have an update on the rules, the equipment requirement rules. These rules have gone through the entire process for the most part. They were presented to the Government Operations Committee on May 19th, and they were approved. So these will be effective on June 13th, and the electronic notification will go out most likely today, informing licensees of this rule change. As for legislative update, the Domestic Violence Bill, which is HB 0120, Senate Bill 0216, this was the bill that requires applicants to obtain up to 1 hour of online or in-person training on domestic violence. This has become law, and it was passed on March 8th, 2021. If you have any questions on that or the rules, just let me know. Otherwise, I hope you all have a great day.
Thank you very much, Hugh. Do you have any questions on those?
I want to do a quick update. It's been a minute since we've talked about getting notified, and now that we have 2 new board members, I want to go ahead and emphasize that, as well as for anyone that's listening in. We have what's called Get Notified. It's a sign-up feature on our website to get email notifications of any program you're interested in. And so as board members, you all receive the laws and rules the minute you join the board. But as you know, they're living, breathing documents, and we don't print them. They're available always at your fingertips. Definitely sign up, and it's on the board's website under Contact Us or Consumer Information. It's one of those two, and it says to get notified for emails. It isn't junk mails you will get. It is strictly on laws and rules that have passed. Even when the bills are in the pipeline, we don't blast those out because, as you know, they can change by the next day. And so, but when something goes into effect, that's how we notify everyone. And so that's what Hugh was referring to. These rules that you worked on, we had rulemaking hearing in October. They are now officially in the statute. We will make sure that those get sent out today to everyone, and have been working on the changes that those cover. So make sure to get signed up. And when you do, you're also able to click on and see previous things that have gone out via this email blast. So thank you. Chairman Gillihan, if you've got nothing else, I'll proceed with the appearing before the board. And I think everyone has their tablets with the presentation. Our first item starts on page 40, and for our board members, we put the entire presentation on SharePoint as well. So I do have 2 different tracking methods. If you need a page number, please let me know and I'll be happy to do so. The first item before you is Sumati Spa Pro Aesthetics. This is the new specialty aesthetics school. I know Ms. Tarika Fitzgerald is on the call, so thank you, Ms. Fitzgerald, for logging in and participating with us. She's there to answer any questions. This is a school located in Memphis. It was previously presented at the April meeting, and the board members had some changes that you wanted made and presented again. So I will turn it over to you, Chairman Gillihan, with any questions you have.
Thank you, Roxana. As I've reviewed this, I can see that they have made significant changes in what they had presented before. Their presentation is quite a bit more clear and a little bit better organized. I think they have addressed most of the concerns that I had before. Let me give a quick review here, and there may be 1 or 2 quick questions I have for you. If anybody else has something, please feel free.
On page 3, it's their page 3. I see that it has fundamentals for learning for aesthetics course, and then it says as required by the Tennessee State Board of Cosmetology. We had asked that you add the state's curriculum in there, but this is just a list of the My Lady chapters in the book. And so I would like for you to get rid of the as required by the state board, because some of the chapters that are listed are not necessarily a requirement of the state board. You did list it later. It's in page 3 of the student catalog. You did list it correctly there. So that would suffice for what we need it to say. But just check your page 3, and I think it was not in the student catalog, but page 3.
Page 3 of 9, is that the one you're looking at? Yes.
So on page 3 of 9, if you will just remove as required by the State Board of Cosmetology, or change the list to include only what we require, but you can remove it there and leave it in the student catalog as is. That will clear that up.
Okay, thanks.
On page 4, and I think this one is in the student catalog, you've got instructors in training, and I would actually like for you to specify on there, is that the instructor trainee or the junior instructor? And it looks like the way that you've written it, it is instructor trainee. When you say instructor in training, it makes it a little more difficult for your students to know, or the student instructors to know, if they're going to be instructor trainees or junior instructors. And since the laws are different, I would like for that to match specifically the law, to say instructor trainee, if you don't mind. And then I had one other question, and that is on page 11. You said that you would work with a flexible schedule. Can you tell me about the flexible schedule, what you mean by that?
On page 11, you said?
Yes.
Ms. Russell, is that 11 out of the 14, the next
It
document?
is 11 in the student catalog.
It's 11 out of 14.
11 out of
as
14.
well.
You start with flexible schedule on the top, Ms. Fitzgerald?
I'm locating it right now. Hold on one second. Oh, flexibility, that's just requiring, that's just in general, nothing that's going to interfere with the hours that are required for them to have, but flexible scheduling as far as when the students are going to be on campus and when they're not going to be on campus.
Will these be considered to be part-time students with flexible schedules?
Yes, ma'am. It's located when I was rereading over everything before the presentation. But yes, ma'am, I have it listed. Only part-time students are required to have modifications.
That's all that I had, Ron, if you had other questions.
I actually did have just one.
Roxana, we're unable to hear anyone speaking right now.
Okay,
not sure
I'm
if
sorry.
they're
I'm sorry. On page, starting in your enrollment contract, I'm not seeing where you've got a specific statement of what the student's schedule is. I do see that you've identified the student and their coursework and fees and so forth, but there's nothing that says you're supposed to attend on a given day at a given time. Is that located somewhere in here that I've not been able to find yet?
5 of 14.
5 of 14. Okay.
Page 57 on your tablet.
Okay. I do see that you've got your schedule there, but what I'm really referring to is something that the student acknowledges that they're aware that their schedule is supposed to be these hours on this particular day. And I think that kind of speaks to the other question about the flexibility of schedules. How would the board know when they're supposed to be there? How does the student absolutely know if I'm not there on a certain day? I think I'd like to see that added, and that's a simple typographical kind of thing that can be added to the enrollment agreement.
To clarify, could you repeat that for me?
So I'd like to see something in your enrollment agreement that specifically states that student X is supposed to be in attendance on a given day during given hours. Okay, and that the student has some way to acknowledge they've received that, so they know exactly when they're required to be there and when they're not.
Well, I have listed. What else should it say? Because I do have listed on 5014 that on campus, they're on campus from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Yes. But then you also state that you have flexible schedules, so that kind of makes that variable.
Ms. Fitzgerald, maybe on your student enrollment agreement on page 5 of 6, where you have student enrollment information, and below it you have desired course of study. There you've got whether they're full-time or part-time. So maybe there, Chairman Gillihan, would be your thought to just add which particular schedule have they chosen, given that they have some flexibility.
Okay.
I think that would be fine. Okay. Also on page 6 of 14, again, I'm seeing a reference to the requirement for a high school diploma or its equivalent. Can you speak to us about that requirement, please?
Could you repeat that, Ron?
I'm seeing on page 6 of 14, you still have a requirement for a high school diploma on here or its equivalent, and I'd like you to speak to that a little bit, please. State law no longer requires a high school diploma.
And it never did for the cosmetology program. So it's 10th grade, 2 years equivalent, or 2 year of high school, 10th grade or equivalent, yes.
Is that just your personal requirement, which is okay? I'm not saying it's not. I just wanted to hear your response to it.
Well, I have listed on 6 of 14, meet the state minimum age requirement to enter the program at 16 years of age or at least a 10th grade education.
Mm-hmm. And then as you go down about 3 or 4 sentences there, have obtained a high school diploma or its equivalent and provide acceptable documentation, et cetera. It's perfectly fine if you want to require that diploma. I just wanted to hear your position on that.
That would be if they're not, if the 16 years of age or the 10th grade education does not apply to them. Should I just remove that as a whole?
Well, I'm not telling you to remove it or not. What I'm saying to you is it's okay for you to require a high school diploma. I'm simply asking the question, is that just the policy of your school, which is fine?
I think maybe if you just move that little, those couple of sentences up to just below the 10th grade education, and it could say 10th grade education or have obtained a high school diploma. You don't have to remove it, but it would make it a little more clear that they could do one or the other, and they would still fall within the guidelines for your school. I think it's just it was a little difficult to understand if you were requiring one and the other or one or the other. So maybe just move it up and then put or have obtained a high school diploma. That might clarify just a little bit.
And for, of course, we have operated in accredited schools, and some of our accreditors require that, which is why it's perfectly fine. I was just really trying to determine whether or not that was simply your policy or if you were confused about the law on that.
No, sir. You all explained to me in April in regards to the new law, the new change.
All right.
The word or would suffice significantly for both parties on that part.
Do we have any other questions or discussion on this? Do we have a motion on this application?
I'll make a motion to approve the school with the noted changes.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the school with the changes that have been notated. If there is no further discussion, we'll have a roll call vote.
Thank you, Chairman Gillihan. Ron Gillihan?
Yes.
Becky Russell?
Yes.
Judy McAllister?
Yes.
Patricia Parsons?
Yes.
Mona Sappenfield?
Yes.
Thank you. Frank Gambusa?
Yes.
Anita Charlton?
Yes.
Janie Ross? Yes. John Cagle?
Yes.
Monica Lemons.
Yes.
Thank you. And so this school will make the revisions and be able to send me the updated documents so we have them in the file. And then because it is a new school, it will be pending a field inspection as well as a board member. Is that correct? Okay. The only other question I have, Ms. Fitzgerald, before I lose you is, are you ready to be inspected? If not, you can always send me an email so that we can start moving on this.
I have one contractor who I need to check with, so within the give me about 2 weeks just to make sure I have him out of the way.
Make sure that you email me, because from that time we'll have 10 business days to get the inspection done. So thank you and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Next, you have on your iPads, and this starts on page 74 of your tablets. This is Vdmc Professional Services. It is a new specialty aesthetic school, and I have Mr. Reese as well as Ms. Bailey here in person, and so I'll escort them in a second here to the podium in case you have any questions. This school is located in Nashville. It's a new, we have the new application, the curriculum, the blank contract agreement, floor plan, catalog. 5 contracts have been received, and the contingency plan. I'll let them come up to the podium in case you have any questions.
Good morning, and thank you for coming down today. We appreciate you appearing before the board. Can you tell us a little bit about your school? First of all, if you could give us your names before you speak, give us your names.
Thank you. I'm Portia Bailey. I'm actually one of his daughters.
Okay.
We are an aesthetic school in the Donaldson community. I've been in it for over 10 years now, and I've also the joy.
Ron, Roxana, this is Mona. I cannot hear one thing with, no one's talking into the mic real nicely.
Go ahead. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Do you want me to start from? Okay. So again, my name is Portia Bailey, and I have been an esthetician in the Nashville community for 10 years now. I own and operate a day spa in the Donaldson community. It too has been there for 10 years. And we wanted to start a school just to help other young women starting out be able to obtain fulfillment in the beauty career, and be able to do it in a way where they feel like they have a secure and controlled learning environment, and they come out with the confidence to start their career.
And my name is Reese Bailey. Excuse me. I'm a retired military person, retired at around Fort Campbell down there several years ago, 20 years. And I've been working in higher education for the past 30 years. Even when while I was in the military, I was teaching for the University of Maryland, European Division, and in different other areas. So I've been teaching, working in administration, and working in a technical school, developing programs and such for Hopkins Hill Community College and other different 2-year institutions.
Just the last piece.
Okay, and I have a business degree and a master's degree in business. Yes, sir.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, is this going to be a all electronic school, or are you going to have in-house?
No, sir. It's a hybrid program. So we have set hours where they have to be online with Milady's Mind Tap and myself. In the Mind Tap program, there's a Zoom type function when they're not there on Tuesdays and Thursdays, they will be actually in the building in the clinical working in person. And then we have study hours where they can schedule and come in with myself as well outside of those hours.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I'm so glad to hear you say that you're actually doing some of the live services when we get into the unattended, unmonitored classes. We start to have some difficulties from time to time. That was my main question with your program.
And I misspoke, so it's Tuesdays, Thursdays, and I'm sorry, I misspoke. It's Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturday mornings that they're in the building.
And it's listed on the student registration.
Do we have any other questions?
No, I'd make a motion to approve.
A second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this school. If there's no other questions, Roxanne, if you'll call roll.
Thank you. Ron Gillihan,
Yes.
Becky Russell,
Yes.
Judy McAllister,
Yes.
Patricia Parson,
Yes.
Mona Sappenfield,
Yes.
Frank Gambusa,
Yes.
Anita Charlton,
Yes.
Janie Ross, John Cagle.
Yes.
Thank you. Monica Lemons.
Yes.
Thank you and congratulations. This passes unanimously. It'll be pending a field inspector and board member as well. And I want to make sure you each have my cards. Let me know.
Good luck to you.
Jack, and congratulations.
Good luck. Good.
Moving along, our next school is Center Stage Beauty Academy. This is a new specialty aesthetics school, and they start on page 166 of your iPads. I'll let everybody get situated. We have on the call participating Ms. Tiffany Lynch and Ms. Amber Belt. They're here to answer any questions, information about the school you would like. This school is located in Maryville. The new school application, curriculum, blank enrollment agreement, floor plan, catalog, the 5 contracts, and the contingency plan were all received timely. So I'll let you take a look and then ask any questions, and we'll make sure that they can hear us and we can hear them.
Hi, this is Mona Sappenfield. I have a question on the admissions requirement. Let's see, the pages aren't numbered on here, but there's one section and it says that the applicant must have attained high school graduation diploma, general education development, GED, certificate of graduation, and be at least 16 years of age. I just want to make sure that it's congruent and compliant with the current law. And then deeper, when you get into I believe it's for the instructors class, the admission for requirement is stated in your application at 18 years of age. So I just wanted some clarification that it was at least compliant with the new laws.
Yes, let me look at that really quick. My partner and I listened to the April meeting. I did change the admissions requirement because I didn't have the clarity on the age of being 16 years of age or 2 years with 2 years of high school. So we amended the admissions requirements, and I have it written here if you'd like me to read it to you.
If I could interrupt, is this Ms. Lynch or is this Ms. Amber Belt?
This is Ms. Tiffany Lynch.
Thank you. We just want to make sure who was speaking. I appreciate that. Thank you, Tiffany. Go right ahead.
So I changed it to that Center Stage Beauty Academy would like students to have attained their high school graduation diploma or a GED, but Center Stage Beauty Academy will consider applicants who are at least 16 years of age with 2 years of high school education. Does that read more clearly?
Yes, I believe that does. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Additionally, deeper into the application, you have some language that two questions kind of caught my attention on did you know? You must be a licensed esthetician to work in the professional world of makeup, i.e. film sets, photo shots, etc. I'm not sure that that's actually correct. I do know to work in films, you have to have, it's a union organization and you have to have a SAG card. So I wouldn't want you to mislead anyone in that.
Okay.
And
We can try that.
right, you have an additional, did you know, as a licensed esthetician, you can work alongside medical professionals in medical offices assisting in performing services that they can train you to perform. That's not correct. There is a new law, and there's also a new law in the books that Governor Lee just signed, and it might just be better if you were going to address this, that you actually put the public chapter in there. Within the Cosmetology Board, we have actually rules, and those can as to where estheticians can work, and it just needs to be cleaned up. That would not be correct.
Well, I made a note of that, and I'll just strike those from the brochure literature.
Thank you.
No problem.
I want you to, this is, again, what we've said to another school this morning. I would like for you to clarify in the esthetician educators program that it is instructor trainee program that you're putting them through. I see that it's 300 hours, and so I know that's the route that you want them to go. But because there are laws that deal with these separately, we just need to be very clear that they understand which laws apply to them and the way that they apply to them. So that way they'll know the length of the program as required by law, which is very different from junior instructor. So if you will just add that, you can even leave it the way it is, just add it to it that it is the instructor trainee route that they will be going.
Okay. Perfect. We're putting that right now. I made a note of that. Absolutely, I can add that.
Perfect.
Do we feel like these are just clerical things that can be taken care of? Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Okay. If there's no other questions, do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
A second.
I would second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Roxana, I believe we'll have a roll call.
Thank you. Ron Gillihan,
Yes.
Becky Russell. Yes. Judy McAllister,
Yes.
Patricia Parson,
Yes.
Mona Sappenfield,
Yes.
Frank Ambusa, Frank Ambusa.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Anita Charlton,
Yes.
Janie Ross, John Cagle.
Yes.
Thank you, Monica Lemons.
Yes.
Thank you. And same with this one, we will be doing a field inspection and board member inspection as well. And as soon as the updates are received, we'll coordinate that date. So please make sure, Ms. Lynch and Ms. Bell, to email me when you are ready and have those documents. And congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, we have a change in location. This is the Institute of Beauty, and that item starts on page 196 on your iPads. Ms. Turner is on the call with us. She's available to answer any questions. This is a natural hair styling school located in Memphis. The school, I believe, is 1,200 square feet. The application as well as the updated student agreement have been received timely. And welcome, Ms. Turner. Chairman Gillihan, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Roxana. Ms. Turner, I have to ask you the same question I ask all of our change of locations. Is this going to be a distance move? Is it going to be an inconvenience to your students, or is it relatively nearby?
We're moving right across the walkway.
There we go. That's what I like to hear.
There you go.
All right.
Yes.
You're not going to be changing anything in your contracts or your education programs?
No, sir.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Do we have a motion on this request?
Make the motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you.
Dr. Cagle?
Was that Dr. Cagle with the second?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Roxana, if you would call the roll.
My pleasure. Ron Gillihan?
Yes.
Becky Russell?
Yes.
Judy McAllister?
Yes.
Patricia Parson?
Yes.
Mona Sappenfield?
Yes.
Frank Gambusa?
Yes.
Anita Charlton?
Yes.
Janie Ross? Yes. John Cagle?
Yes.
Monica Lemons?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have Kincc. This is a new specialty school on your iPads. We're on page 202. Miss Kimberly Anderson, I believe, is on the call with us. Oh, I knew I'd see you. Good morning. This is an instructor specialty school. It is located in Memphis. The application, curriculum, blank enrollment agreement, floor plan, the catalog, 5 contracts, and the contingency plan were all received timely. I'm going to make sure Ms. Anderson's got. There you go.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Morning. Thank you guys for having me this morning. Pleasure to be here.
Okay. Ms. Anderson, would you like to tell us a little bit about your new program?
Absolutely. I'm very excited to bring something innovative to the board and to the state of Tennessee. My name is Kimberly Anderson. I have been a licensed cosmetologist going on year 24. As long as I've been styling, I've been teaching, whether it's platform work or freelance work, as well as I'm a licensed instructor. So Kincc Academy we are basically and specifically taking the instructor and focusing solely on them. There is a deficit in the industry on where education is going. We have, even based on my experience getting my instructor's license, I was a junior instructor with no compensation. I only received 1 hour a week in teaching, and that was me and the director reading a book together. As we evolve as an industry, it's time for a change to produce quality educators and quality instructors, and this is how this program came about.
Is this going to be one of your hybrid programs, so you're going to be doing it online?
Absolutely. This program is hybrid. We will meet in person as well as live. Currently local in Memphis, but the hybrid piece will be extended to the entire state of Tennessee. Right now, I only have applicants that have truly solidified their commitment locally in Memphis, but I do have contacts with people that are all over Tennessee that are interested in this program.
So there will be days when they would actually be coming in physically as well, or is everything going to be online?
Both. They will come in physically, and even the online will be live. It will not be independent learning. It will be synchronous learning. The instructor will be on hand as various exercises are being done. And this, I apply for the cosmetology instructors. However, I do have more barbers that are interested in this program. We know that teaching methodologies, of course, are universal. And if we all are aware, there's a deficit of the barber instructors currently. I think there are 180. and they are 1,100 instructors. So only out of that 1,100, there's 180. And we also know that the barbers, they don't get as much love as they should. So with that being said, there is a need, and I have, like I said, at least 7 barbers that are ready to commit. In Memphis, we lost 3 barber schools kind of simultaneously, so there's definitely a deficit there, and so there is a need for more barber instructors as well as barber schools, actually statewide.
You're going to have day classes, but you're going to have evening classes as well.
Yes, the day classes are from 10 to 2. Evening classes are from 5 to 9. We wanted to make the program flexible because these are all beauty professionals that are currently in the industry working behind the chair. So we want the hours to be accommodating to them.
Questions?
If I could take a moment to kind of add some unique aspects to this and have you as board members approve the path that I think this is taking. She is applying for a specialty school under the Cosmetology program because that is the only law that envisions this. As Ms. Anderson has pointed out, she's got probably more interest in the barber side, but the hours for instructor, and we've got both Mr. Gillihan and Ms. Russell here that can attest to that, are 300. They're really on teaching methodology. And so I do not see a problem with her taking on manicure individuals that want to be instructors, aesthetics, natural hair, barbers, or cosmetologists, because there'd be no other path for her to come in and obtain a barber school license. So if the board agrees, she's applying for and she'd get that specialty instructor school, but she can take on any of those licensed individuals. Her monthly hours would reflect for us what type of student they are. So a BI would be a barber instructor and so forth. And then when she puts them to take the exam, the code would be specific for that theory exam. But I think this is definitely needed, and her vision and the people interested that we've had conversations about show that there's a big interest out there.
Roxana, I couldn't agree more with that. For anyone who doesn't know, the curriculum for that is exactly the same on both cosmetology and barber. It is about teaching methodology. It is not about cutting and shaving or coloring and perming. So it is exactly the same program. I would have a small concern, because if we're going to set a school up to be able to offer that kind of a crossover in this scenario, how would that affect our brick and mortars that are would like to teach that across the other field as well? Okay, so are we really looking at apples and apples?
So I don't think right now any of our brick and mortar schools just teach the instructor curriculum. But I have spoken to a few schools that teach the 300-hour training, because that's what this is going to be. It's actually going by the book. And if they're a specialty school, such as an aesthetic school, what is happening now is they're teaching the instructor course to estheticians. But in my conversations, I've explained what you're saying, that they wouldn't have to be limited to estheticians for the instructor training. So in essence, we've already had the conversations, and I've opened that vision. The difficult piece is what students are they working with to get proper hands-on training on how to teach, and that is their business. That opens their business opportunities to really create those, and we've had those conversations on where are you practicing teaching for those practical hours. And so that is where the school has to figure out how to really do the future instructor service by getting them those hours the correct way. Does that help?
It does. Does the law allow that at this point? Is that a legal question that we even need to look at this stage?
So the law has the instructor training under both sections in 62.3 and 62.4. And because of that is why I've envisioned, and the hours are the same. They're 300.
Exactly the same curriculum,
exactly the
both sides.
same. And so I didn't have the long debate necessarily with Hugh because it is in both areas. And my thought that I believe you have the jurisdiction to decide is forcing them to get a barber school license pushes them to need 1,600 square feet. That makes no sense.
Right.
So I think you have that flexibility because the law is the same. It's 300 hours. It's 2 exams. It's all of that. You report your hours the same way. There's no difference. You have the option to not need them to have that square footage because they're really teaching how to teach, and it's the same.
So, and believe me, I agree with what we're saying. I agree with this concept myself. But just to make sure I'm really clear, so if we have XYZ Barber School who's doing the brick and mortar thing every day, he already has those facilities. If they decide that they want to offer the instructor program, hybrid program.
Mic just turned off and on.
I'm sorry, that's too far.
This is Mona Stappenfield. I'd like to just make a comment on this. Over 10 years ago, when I started advocating for estheticians in Tennessee, and our intent in the new laws of 10 years ago in cosmetology was for higher standards in education for the teachers and to pull and segment out specialty schools. And Roxana was there, and she knows it was a long battle, to get that done. But I believe it's the intent of what we did 10 years ago is now unfolding into the vision of what we really wanted was to segment and give that higher quality training to those instructors, and all of the new specialty schools that are unfolding. It was a very, very good decision to do that just by witnessing the industry growth and what's happening in, just the entire field. I brag on my estheticians all the time because of their scores with PCI and how dedicated they are as students. And I believe I really personally believe that that's because of the segment and concentration of this instructor level. And I think all of this is a really good idea.
Thank you, Mona. Appreciate that.
So, Ron, I think to answer your question, right now, if a school gets licensed and presents as a barber school, because that's all they can do, they really can have the instructor curriculum because it isn't even a needed additional inspection. It's a classroom. And so they get to tell us, and I do have something in writing that I add, when and if they add it after the fact. If they're opening with the instructor program as a new school, you get to see it in the contracts. But otherwise, it's really just adding the 300 hours. So I think to your point, if we have a barber school that's been licensed for 10 years and has been offering instructor courses, we're breaking the ground now by saying they can take in aesthetic students to teach them to be instructors. It's the same 300 hours. It's the same book, the curriculum, the logic is there. It's simply that they're teaching, who is this aesthetics licensee going to learn to teach? Is that going to be an obstacle to the school? And that would be the piece that they have to make a business decision on.
Anderson?
Just wanted to add that I do have a barber instructor already on staff. So the goal is to actually have for each specialty to have an instructor on staff that can truly relate to create that personalized learning experience for the instructor. So we're trying to cover all bases here.
Thank you for that.
And we had discussed that for the hours to count, it does have to be a barber instructor. So yes.
That's really what's in the back of my mind
Yes.
here, because when we start to cross those disciplines, in one area you can't do it, in another area,
Correct.
we don't want to get in those gray areas too much. So I applaud you for your efforts. Okay.
Ms. Anderson, I am thrilled and very excited about your school.
Thank you.
And with that, I will make a motion to approve.
Thank you so much.
You have a second?
And I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve. If there's no other discussion, if you'll call the roll.
Thank you. Ron Gillihan?
I'm very happy to say yes.
Thank you, sir. Becky Russell?
Yes.
Judy McAllister?
Yes.
Patricia Parson?
Yes.
Mona Sappenfield?
Yes.
Frank Gambusa?
Yes.
Anita Charlton?
Yes.
Janie Ross? Yes. John Cagle?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Monica Lemons?
Yes.
Thank you. And congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Good
I
luck.
appreciate it greatly.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay. The last official school presenting before you starts on page 230 of your iPads. This is TSLAY University. It is a new specialty natural hair styling school. Ms. Donna Walker is on the call and ready to participate. Thank you, Ms. Walker, for being here with us today. This school is located in Memphis. The new school application, curriculum, blank enrollment agreement, floor plan, the catalog, 5 contracts, as well as the contingency plan were received timely. I will turn it over to you, Chairman Gillihan, if you have any questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Chairman, I apologize. This is Laura. There seems to be an error with the media, the live feed. Roxana, I'm not sure if the IT tech is there on site.
Okay. We will check as far as you being able to watch us live.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you so much for letting us know. We'll try to correct it.
Roxana has a new specialty school. This one's going to be in person and on site. Is that correct?
I believe, and Ms. Walker can let us know that she's got a plan to do a hybrid piece as well, but yes, she will have in-person hours as well. Is that correct, Ms. Walker?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ms. Walker, can you talk to us about your hybrid plans? Can you explain how you intend to do that?
Laura, I
Okay,
hate
well,
to
we,
interrupt. Laura, if we could get you, Charles, just let me know. If you could refresh your page, it should come up.
Yes, it has started. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you, Charles. All right, I'll turn it back over to you.
I'm sorry. What I'd ask was if you could explain to us a little bit about your hybrid presentation.
Well, we actually wanted to start in person because I was, before you guys on today, I just wanted to put the online option because in the future we do plan on doing online, but starting out we were going to start with in person.
Okay, so you're not going to intend to be doing anything hybrid right away?
Not right away, but it is on our plan for the future.
Okay. Would it be fair for you to understand that if you are ready to do the hybrid, that you probably need to come back and present that to us so we can take a look at how you're going to actually present that?
Okay.
What we're really looking for is if your plans for either doing a synchronous or asynchronous classroom with this. So,
and if I could interject, would it be okay with the board? What we've done due to COVID is those schools that have added, whether just synchronous using Zoom or Teams, and then using MindTap or True Online, they've sent me the information, and the board has given me the authority to update their school file and add a letter. Would that be okay in this case when she's ready? Okay.
Yes, it would for me.
Thank you. Ms. Walker, did that make sense?
Yes, ma'am, it does.
Thank you.
So, so are you guys saying that I have to wait to come back to present the online with the in-person, or are you guys able to pass me through with in-person first?
No, we're going to pass it as you have it written right now, which is in person only. When you are ready to add a hybrid model, whether it's virtual or the online as well, and those are two different methods, then
Gotcha.
you will send me that in writing and I'll be able to approve that.
Okay, I understand.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions? I am noticing on page 264 of ours, I'm not sure what that is for her. I see. I'm sorry, I'm misreading. It's her contingency plan. She's giving the name and address of another location. I was just looking at that incorrectly.
Yes. So it's a location that's like 2 to 3 minutes away from us, which is Goshen.
Right. Anyone else have any questions or comments this time? Ready? Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
I second.
Have a motion and a second to approve. If there's no other discussion, Ms. Roxana, if you'd call the roll.
Thank you, sir. Ron Gillihan,
Aye.
Becky Russell,
Yes.
Judy McAllister,
Yes.
Patricia Parson,
Yes.
Mona Sappenfield,
Yes.
Frank Ambusa,
Yes.
Anita Charlton,
Yes.
Ms. Wyvette Granger, are you on the call with us? You're on mute. Ms. Granger, if you're able to vote.
Roxana, she is on, but she is having some audio issues.
Okay, no worries. Ms. Janie Ross? Ms. Janie Ross?
Yes.
John Cagle?
Yes.
And Monica Lemons?
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on our appearing before the board in schools, the last item we have is Masters Barber and Styling College. It's a school extension, and I'm very thrilled to present this. This is Mr. Ron Gillihan is available to answer any of your questions, and this is regarding his school located in Old Hickory. The school is adding more classroom and office space to the existing location. It does not impact the services to the public. You have on your iPads on page 272, starting with this. We welcome any questions, and I'll be happy to guide this, and Chairman Gillihan will have to recuse himself.
Folks, let me answer the questions I asked for everybody else. It's not going to inflict any undue distance on my students. Is simply attaching space on a common wall. We'll be opening a doorway so they can walk through. It's approximately 2,500 square feet, and it'll bring the size of my school to just 6,000 feet. This is for classroom space and offices. There'll be additional restrooms, a kitchen, and some individual small.
We've got someone that needs to mute their mic.
Chairman, I apologize. Ms. Granger, your audio is now working, but if you could please mute.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura. Go right ahead. I apologize, Mr. Gillihan.
Not at all. Be happy to answer any questions.
I'll make a motion to approve. I've seen the building and I know where you're cutting your door, so I don't think it's going to interfere with anything.
I second.
We have a motion by Ms. Patricia Parson and a second by Ms. Judy McAllister by roll call vote. I'll leave Chairman Gillihan out of the vote. Ms. Becky Russell?
Yes.
Judy McAllister?
Yes.
Patricia Parson?
Yes.
Mona Sappenfield?
Yes.
Thank you. Frank Ambusa? Frank Ambusa?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Anita Charlton?
Yes.
Wyvette Granger? Wyvette Granger? Janie Ross?
Yes.
John Cagle?
Yes.
Thank you. And Monica Lemons?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, board members. We are now going to switch over to the legal report, and I am happy to turn it over to Michael Underhill. As you know, on your iPads, you'll need to open the legal report separately. Everybody was sent this redacted report last week, and so, Mike, it's all yours.
Can you hear me now? Okay. On today's litigation report, there are 101 items, 12 being represented items. There are 11 Barber items and then 78 Cosmetology items. So with that being said, are there any questions from the board regarding the legal report?
Thank you, Michael. We'll look at it for just a minute. I'm sure they do have some questions. I'm going to start off with number 25. I believe that's on page 14 of our report. Of course, we don't see what this unprofessional behavior may have been, but unprofessional behavior is within our purview.
I look at number 32. It says that there were laser hair removal services. Is that a licensed cosmetology shop, skincare? Do we know?
That is an individual.
Mike, can we look at number 64? I wasn't quite sure what I was reading when I saw that last week. The respondent states the end result was common when touching up tiny roots of blood. Is that just a typo? Should it be blonde or something else?
No, blood is
Blood
correct.
is
That
correct?
was almost a direct quote in their response.
It could be that the respondent mistyped it. We're using it exactly as it was presented, but it doesn't make any sense.
On case number 68, do you know if we have any further information about where these folks may be double timing it out there?
With regard to specific names,
Students or where they may be working or trying to work out.
if I remember this one correctly, I don't think we know exactly where, but I mean, the complaint was made against the school.
Regarding that, it says that there is social media to support it. Is that we check the social media, or that's just what the complaint said?
Typically, they will provide social media if they, but this one did not, but I can in the future.
On case number 85, do we know if that's a consumer complaint or if that's, this is regarding a school as well?
If it's a consumer, usually I try to state whether this one didn't really give me any indication as to what, I mean, whether it was somebody on the outside or somebody at the school or something of that nature.
No information about an individual student or anything like that?
It's my understanding that the identity of the student was known at the time of the inspection.
What about number 86?
On item 86, what is the concern?
Alleges criminal activity.
Yes, an inspector went out there, and apparently there was no evidence to substantiate it. I can only presume that he did not see anything at the time he or she came into the business.
Does anyone online have any questions about the legal report?
Going back to item number 25, it would be my recommendation of the board that there would be a letter of warning regarding the, okay.
I prefer that, yes.
Okay, get some instruction from the board on. And that would be item number 70. This is the complaint regarding that the licensed instructor was not on the premises while the school was operating. And in the complaint, it doesn't necessarily state this. Obviously, we have the junior instructor present, but the allegation made by the complainant, they stated different dates that the licensed instructor was not at the school, at least two of which stated that the licensed instructor was on vacation. And so based on that allegation, Ms. Gamusio and I struggled with it a little bit, but we came to the conclusion that you're not necessarily present when you're on a vacation. And so she alleged that she could be available, via FaceTime or something of the equivalent. But that is why I recommended jointly with Ms. Gamusio that we do the $1,000 penalty, because it's a school. And I think that might send a better message.
I believe, if I understand correctly, with supervision of, in this case, a junior instructor, the Barber side has a slightly different title. That is direct supervision. That is the same as a cosmetology or barber student receiving their training. If there's no instructor present, then there could be no hours awarded. That junior instructor is responsible for all of those students. That junior instructor is not licensed yet as an instructor, so they're not really qualified to do this without direct supervision. That's why that exists, I believe, is my.
So what I can add is it says is supervised by a licensed instructor. And so supervised isn't defined and the word direct isn't there. Because I have that debate with schools often, and when our field inspectors go out, there's that concern, right? If they don't see the instructor physically there. What has changed with COVID is this hybrid model of teaching in a synchronous format. And so with that, we've kind of expanded what does supervision mean, and as long as you are available at all times to supervise, And it could be that one is on Zoom doing the Zoom meeting and the other in person, but you're working as a team and completely available. So direct and available, kind of closely tied. Then we've stretched it to understand that given the parameters of today's world, and never had a problem. So that's the reason I wanted to make sure we touched on it, because we understand all that flexibility, and I think it's out there, but the whole being on vacation we felt was worth the conversation, and that's where both Mike and I agreed that's different. Although sometimes I get a call on vacation, rarely, because my team is phenomenal. They don't need to call me, and I don't need to call my supervisor, right? But I think when you're on vacation, technically, from any avenue you look at, you shouldn't be available to handle business. And so that's where we wanted to make sure we pointed that out.
Add that Ms. Gamusio also spoke with the individual owner, and we tried to get some, in her response, something on the vacation bit, and that was left out in the response, which we thought was telling. So
I think the penalty that we've described is appropriate. Myself, it would be my opinion on that topic, and I think that we probably, I guess, as a board and our understanding of what we're going to consider that supervision is something that we ought to maybe be thinking about how we can clarify that just a little bit more, because we've often recognized that when an inspector comes in, if the shop manager is out for a short period of time, 30 minutes, lunchtime is what we've always considered, then that's not something that we would penalize them for. But, a 3-hour lunch or a half-a-day lunch, or I'm just not here at all day because I'm having lunch, it was not considered appropriate. So certainly, if they've got a Zoom class going and that instructor may be watching directly what's going on, okay, maybe that's something that's considerable. And I'm just thinking out loud. I should probably stop this.
No. This is welcome, because it not being defined helps us to talk about it. And as I mentioned, when the schools ask me how to really carry it out or what that means, or an inspector doesn't find them, this is the first time that we've got a penalty and a true item where we don't think you could be available. And that's the case. Are you directly able to supervise or available at all times?
With the qualifications of anyone who is in training for an instructor, they're already a licensed personnel in that field, notwithstanding our program we approved this morning. So that person should be physically qualified to do whatever, to address any situation that may occur on a clinic floor, but still to just turn them loose without anybody to look over their shoulders, I think, is a dangerous thing. So, anybody else?
Same way. Yep, an instructor in the Zoom class. At least you've got an instructor in the building if they need to go get them, or if the student doesn't feel like they're getting the supervision they need, they're able to walk in there and ask for the other instructor to come out for a minute. So I feel strongly there needs to be one in the school in a brick and mortar.
I think
We didn't get you on the record at the end.
I said I think that it's pretty clear that this was definitely unsupervised.
But we want to stay with the $1,000 penalty.
I'm happy with that.
Okay. And I think that's really appropriate. Thank you. Are there any other questions on the legal? Did you have anything else, Mike?
None.
We would need a motion.
Motion to approve the legal.
I don't recall any changes in that, did we?
Oh, there are no changes this time. Mike's done outstanding.
Well, essentially, with number 25, we're going to send out that letter of warning.
So we can call.
Second the motion.
Thank you. Yes. Did you have a comment, Dr. Cagle?
No, I was just seconding the motion.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'll proceed with roll call vote. Ron Gillihan?
Yes.
Becky Russell?
Yes.
Judy McAllister?
Yes.
Patricia Parson?
Yes.
Mona Sappenfield? Sappenfield. Frank Gambusa.
Yes.
Frank Gambusa.
Yes.
Thank you. Mona Sappenfield.
Yes.
Thank you, Mona. We've got you. Anita Charlton.
Yes.
Thank you. Wyvette Granger.
Yes.
Thank you. Janie Ross.
Yes.
John Cagle.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And Monica Lemons.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mike, for the legal report. We will proceed with our administrative pieces on the applications before the board, the felony applications. Those start on page 277 of your tablets. And I know you'll have to switch your presentation over, so if you give me a minute to do the same.
Roxana, while we're getting changed over, as we're getting started today, I'm not sure if we took a moment to recognize our schools and our visitors. So do we have some folks from school here today? If you would, stand up and identify yourself and let us welcome you here. That's always been our tradition. We appreciate you being here. Oh, wonderful. We'll have a talk about her later.
She don't leave you unsupervised.
Off the record, please.
Folks, thank you so much. It's always been our custom here to welcome schools and visitors, and we certainly wanted to include you guys in that. And we appreciate you being here and witness what your board does, and encourage you to work hard and go forward and be successful in this industry. And before I stop, Pam, did you have some folks you'd like to introduce to us? Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for being here. Okay. I'm sorry, Roxana.
Thank you. No, you're perfectly
We're
good.
gonna-
I'm glad we came back to that. You're right. Thank you so much. Next on our agenda, we are doing our applications for examination. The first items are our felony applicants, and we have before you on your iPads, you have the documentation, and then on SharePoint, which is our protected site, we also have these documents available. We are presenting Stacy Bradshaw, Danielle Cutchell, and Lacey Emery. These applicants have felonies within the last 3 years and or are currently incarcerated. Their request is to take the Tennessee examination in order to be licensed, and with the board's approval, legal counsel will prepare an agreed order for a 2-year probationary period. I'll make sure to give everyone time to review the records if you have any questions. Otherwise, when you're ready, I will take a motion.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a second. Are there any questions or discussions? I'm going to give it to All right, Roxana, if you'll call the roll.
Thank you, sir. And that was a motion by Ms. Judy McAllister, a second by Ms. Patricia Parson. By roll call vote, Ron Gillihan,
Yes.
Rebecca Russell,
Yes.
Judy McAllister, Patricia Parson,
Yes.
Mona Sappenfield,
Yes.
Frank Gambusa,
Yes.
Anita Charlton,
Yes.
Wyvette Granger,
Yes.
Janie Ross,
Yes.
John Cagle.
Yes.
Thank you. And Monica Lemons.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, as is our normal path on our applications, We have one more individual, and this is on those approving to take the test. This is a request for an extension of the rule for original license. Ms. Carly Mingle Prater, and she is on page 290 of your iPads. She passed her cosmetology practical exam in January of 2020 pursuant to Rule 0440-01-.10. An applicant must obtain their original license within 6 months after they are notified of passing the examination. That would be the practical. The board has given me approval for up to a year, or in other words, an additional 6 months permission for an extension for good cause. Ms. Mengel has explained that due to COVID-19, she moved to Texas during that entire year, and she also had deaths in the family. She is requesting not to have to retest, and I welcome a motion.
Have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? Roxana, if you'll call the roll.
Thank you. By roll call vote, Ron Gillihan?
Yes.
Becky Russell?
Yes.
Judy McAllister?
Yes.
Patricia Parson?
Yes.
Mona Sappenfield?
Yes.
Frank Ambusa?
Yes.
Anita Charlton? Anita Charlton? Might be on mute, Miss Anita.
I'm sorry, yes.
Thank
my
you.
Bluetooth wasn't by my mouth.
No worries. Thank you, ma'am. Wyvette Granger?
Yes.
Janie Ross?
Yes.
John Cagle?
Yes.
Thank you. And Monica Lemons?
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have our applications for reciprocity, and we do not have any. So I did prepare our new board members to let them know that it's not that we don't have people moving to Tennessee. We have them by the hundreds. We just have our process down to a well-oiled machine and look at all of all of the applicants' credentials to get them welcome into Tennessee and get them working soon. So next we are looking at our miscellaneous applications, and these start on page 294 of your tablets. The first item is Goshen School of Cosmetology, and Ms. LaTanya Williams, I believe, is on the call with us. She submitted information for the Instructor Continuing Education Seminar. As the board knows, we approved all of our courses in December, but there's nothing in our statute that gives a timeline of when these need to be presented. So as long as the providers select a date and present an agenda that is acceptable to the board, we can continue approving them throughout the year. So, and Goshen School has presented continuing education in the past. She is requesting approval for our virtual sessions. These would be offered July 25th and 26th, August 30th and 31st, and November 14th and 15th.
Will these be offered as a Zoom type meeting?
And Ms. Williams can answer. Are you available, Ms. Williams, to let her know which platform you're using? I don't hear her. I believe most of our providers have been using Zoom. I participate, as the board knows, at least I have participated and plan to do so on at least one of each of the sessions. But with our providers that are offering 3 or 4, it's just not being possible. Miss Anita Charlton is presenting on the one that went on yesterday, and then thank goodness she took a break so she could participate today. She might be joining the second part of the day, but I believe everyone has used Zoom. I can't think of a single one that's been different.
I was just making sure Zoom type meeting, not an online course.
No, no one has done online. You'd
Perfect.
see this
Thank you.
presented very differently. That's a good question.
Make a motion
Roxana?
to approve.
Yes, Ms. McAllister.
I attended Thomas James.
Yes, ma'am.
It was on Zoom, and it was very good, very informative, and I don't see why it wouldn't work for other people as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second to approve?
I'll second.
Thank you. Roxana, if you'll call the roll.
Thank you. Ron Gillihan,
Yes.
Becky Russell,
Yes.
Judy McAllister,
Yes.
Patricia Parson,
Yes.
Mona Sappenfield.
Yes.
Thank you. Frank Ambusa,
Yes.
Anita Charlton,
Yes.
Wybeck Granger,
Yes.
Jamie Ross,
Yes.
John Cagle,
Yes.
Monica Lemons.
Yes.
Thank you. Next, we have the same situation. This is on page 297 on your tablets. This is Masters Educators Academy. Ms. Amira Jones is participating telephonically with us. She submitted the instructor continuing education information that you have before you. She is requesting 2 dates for virtual sessions, and these are for August 24th and 25th. And October 24th and 25th. If you have any questions, I know Ms. Jones is with us. Otherwise, we would need a motion to approve.
I see there's, this is Ms. Jones. I do see where I need to correct the typo. It says August 18th and 19th. It should be the 29th and 30th on the agenda that I'll update.
I have 29.
What should the correct dates be, Ms. Jones?
Yes, ma'am. Those dates should be August 29th and 30th.
Okay.
Roxana, at the bottom of the heading page, it has August 18th, 8 a.m. I think that's probably what she's referring to. At the top, it has the correct date.
Yes, sir.
Both pages. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this continuing ed seminar. We'll call a roll.
Habits. Thank you, sir. Ron Gillihan,
Yes.
Becky Russell,
Yes.
Judy McAllister,
Yes.
Patricia Parson, Mona Sappenfield,
Yes.
Frank Ambusa,
Yes.
Anita Charlton,
Yes.
Wybeck Granger,
Yes.
Janie Ross,
Yes.
John Cagle.
Yes.
Thank you. And Monica Lemons.
Yes.
Thank you. Our last item under our miscellaneous is also for continuing education. This is from Mr. Thomas James. He was presented at the December 2020 board meeting. He requested approval for in-person instructor session to be held in Murfreesboro. He has changed that June date to the location, for the location to be in Knoxville. Given that June is here, I didn't want his marketing to not be successful, so I went ahead and approved him and updated the website, but I still will need a motion to make this official. And he's got one more in person also with a to be determined piece, so if the board is okay in the event that that in person should change to virtual, I would like the motion to cover this session and any possible update that he might have. The in-person sessions are, as we can understand even today, a little bit tricky right now, and so he had a school in Knoxville reach out to him directly wanting him to go there. So that was, I think, his big reason for making the change.
Make the motion.
Accept.
We have a motion by
We
Ms.
have a motion to approve.
to approve, and we have a second by Ms. Lemons?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
Call the roll.
Thank you. By roll call vote, Ron Gillihan,
Yes.
Becky Russell,
Yes.
Judy McAllister,
Yes.
Patricia Parson,
Yes.
Lona Sappenfield,
Yes.
Frank Ambusa,
Yes.
Anita Charlton,
Yes.
Yvette Granger,
Yes.
Janie Ross,
Yes.
John Cagle,
Yes.
Monica Lemons.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, board members. We are on to the director's report.
To be clear, that also included your authority to
Yes,
to
those
make that
motions.
correction or change if you needed.
Yes, thank you. Absolutely. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
One of the board members have to be online with them, like we've been doing.
They don't have to be, but what we have done is also passed around the information for a board member to sign up. So what I will do this afternoon or tomorrow morning at the latest is send that information with the updated dates from Ms. Jones to all the board members if anyone is able to participate in each of those two. We've already had participation on Mr. Thomas James, so he's okay. But the two new ones, that would be wonderful. And I'm going to do the same thing, try to put one of those dates on my calendar. Thank you. You have on your iPads, starting with page 304, and this was also part of the presentation on SharePoint, the director's numbers. These are our financial information through March of 2021 that's being presented. The year-to-date net surplus or deficit is still showing a deficit of $62,931. I tend to be optimistic, but I think I'm being realistic. We'll be fine when we end the year, as we talked about it. The lawsuit did cost the program quite a bit at the previous month, but we're going to be in good shape when we finish this, and I don't see any reasons for us to be concerned. The civil penalties are also presented. If there are any questions, I welcome those, but otherwise this is strictly informational.
Are we, if I'm on the call, am I allowed to ask a question if I'm not a board member?
We can have you ask a question. Yes. Can you identify yourself, please?
My name is Amira Jones. I just presented with Master Educators Academy, but I do have a instructor program with Professional School of Beauty, and just referencing earlier about the instructor program being similar across all disciplines. Is it that the board would approve us being able to offer that instructor training program to barbers and other disciplines, with us being a cosmetology instructor program? Is that something that we can now do as a standalone instructor program as well?
So, Ms. Jones, this is Roxana Gamusio jumping in. As we discussed, the instructor program is 300 hours on teaching methodology. It's really the same education. You would have to have a specific instructor that can teach that. So if you were to offer the barber instructor training, then you have to have a barber instructor teach it for those hours to carry through. But otherwise, it is the same program, and you would be able to do that, yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Got it. The piece that we also discussed, I know you noticed, is for your barber instructors to get their general hours to actually teach barbers. That's what you then have to identify. Would they be working under barber students in another school, or do you then become a licensed barber school as well? Because otherwise they won't have barber students at their disposal to do their general hours, their practical hours. I apologize. Does that make sense?
Right. So it does. So I would still need to basically either have someone with that instructor, with that barber endorsement, or I would need to clock those additional barber hours myself to be able to teach that particular discipline.
Right. A barber instructor has to be the one teaching the 300 hours. And
yes,
then,
ma'am.
Right. And then the hours themselves have general hours as well as practical hours. So the practical hours are with Barber students.
Absolutely. Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Okay. Thank you for your question. Did that cover? Okay.
Where are we now? New business or?
New business. Yes. Thank you, sir. You have on your iPads the last item, but I'm also going to email this to everyone. These are 2022 meeting dates. We want to make sure, and if these look okay, the only date we've always been careful with is the February to miss the Super Bowl, and we did. It's pretty late in 2022. I think it's the 13th. So I think we're good. If the members are comfortable with that, we'll take a motion, and then we will update and make sure we have this room reserved, which is important because we have students come so often. We don't want to be in a smaller room. But I'll make sure to get those dates out to everyone so that you can update your calendars, and then, of course, we'll update the website.
I'll make a motion to approve the meetings dates.
We have a motion and a second to approve these meeting dates for 2022. Does anybody else see any conflicts or have any questions on these? Okay. You can call the roll, Ms. Roxana, please.
Thank you, sir. Ron Gillihan.
Yes.
Becky Russell.
Yes.
Judy McAllister.
Yes.
Patricia Parson. Mona Sappenfield.
Yes.
Frank Ambusa.
Yes.
Nita Charlton.
Yes.
Yvette Granger.
Yes.
Janie Ross.
Yes.
John Cagle.
Yes.
Monica Lemons.
Yes.
I have nothing else, sir. I'll turn it over to you. And
Thank you very much. I did have one question, I guess, for the board or some direction, perhaps. It occurred to me as I was sitting here this morning going through the felony cases. I'm going to have a student from my school who's going to graduate shortly after the August board meeting. And typically with the felony cases, we wait until they've completed all of their hours and submitted their paperwork to be considered. It's going to be like the next week. So that's going to cause that student to have to sit out. She will actually complete the program after our board meeting. So potentially she'd have to wait until the next board meeting to get approval. So I guess what I'm want to get some direction on is when we get near to the August meeting, with all the evidence indicating that she is going to complete on time, can we go ahead and submit for the August meeting to get preliminary approval based on her actually completing?
if I can answer that, and if the board wants to do these differently, please let me know. Schools reach us with that question all the time so that they don't hold someone back. It's different when they're incarcerated because then PSI is going to go to them and the time crunch is not always there. And so with that in mind, when they do, we tell them to go ahead and send us the letter and send us the individual person's recap of what happened, where they are in life, and all that directly to us. So we'll present it, but that way there's no time loss. So we present them a little bit ahead of time. You wouldn't be adding them to PSI. Normally,
No.
it's the addition to PSI that flags us the name is there. But what you're presenting, schools have given us several times before. Yes. Thank you. That makes sense.
Thank you very much. Does anyone else have anything like to add? I want to say thank you to all of our staff, our attorneys, our people who put in so much work during this time out. I think we all agree that it's very nice to be back here so we can be together as a group and see each other and continue to do the work of this board in a way that is most beneficial to everybody. So thank you. It's good to see you all again. Be safe. And if we have a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Have a second?
Second.
Do you need a roll call for
I
that?
don't think we do. I've gone through that, so we've got it 5 minutes, 10:55. We are adjourned.
We're adjourned.
Thank you all. Laura, thank you for guiding us through the WebEx. Thank you to everybody, and have a great rest of your day. Be safe.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Frank.
Bye.
Thank
Have
you
a
for
great
joining
day.
us, everyone.
Bye, folks.
Bye.
Thanks for using WebEx. Visit our website at www.webex.com.